Has BYD finally run out of miracles yet? Because everyone knows, right, that one of the reasons BYD became so big was thanks to financial support from the Chinese government. But what if one day the Chinese government pulls its funding, which, by the way, it already has? Will BYD survive? As people know, in just the past few years, whenever BYD entered a new market, its competitors collapsed almost immediately, sometimes not even in months, but in just weeks. But now, if the Chinese government stops supporting BYD financially, how will they manage to survive? This video will tell you all about it. But just how impressive is BYD that the Chinese government chose to use it as a tool to take on its rivals, let's just call them competitors, in the global EV market? And another thing I think investors would want to know, because I want to know too, is that regardless of whether BYD survives or not, who will be the next BYD for the Chinese government? Honestly, it's not hard to figure out. There's a list, and I'll show you how to find it in this video, so make sure to watch until the end. Support BYD Crep. Has the miracle run out yet? You can support my channel, Money Motor, by scanning this QR code right here. Or supporting my channel, Money Motor, is super easy. Just hit like, share, and leave a comment to chat with me. If you think this video is useful, please hit subscribe too. That's enough. Just once is enough. Thank you. Let's get right to the point. One of the reasons why BYD has managed to beat competitors worldwide is that BYD can sell cars at prices lower than their production cost. This is BYD's ultimate weapon, something truly unique that no one else in the world can do. Only China can pull this off. Actually, I've talked about this legend of companies that have received these divine weapons from the Chinese government before. There are several, like BYD, CATL, Tencent, and so on. You can check out my older videos for more on that. Anyway, whenever a company gets this divine weapon or financial support from the Chinese government, it flourishes and grows huge. But it's always a double-edged sword. One edge is meant to strike at competitors, to attack rivals all over the world. The other edge is there in case it needs to turn on itself. In this video, Mint will talk about both sides. But let's start with the edge that's used to attack others first, because as everyone can see, BYD, they've already shaken up the global automotive industry in just a relatively short period of time. Starting with Brazil, when BYD entered Brazil, within just 1 year, they captured almost 72% of the EV market share there. As for Thailand, BYD officially launched their marketing on August 8, 2022. After only about 18 months, BYD grabbed 40% of the EV market share in Thailand. At that time, there was news that the Mitsubishi factory was shutting down, but they clarified that it wasn't a complete shutdown. In reality, it was just a reduction in Mitsubishi's production capacity in Thailand. As for Mazda, they actually cut their production in Thailand by 60%. And these are all Japanese car brands, brands that have been established in Thailand for over 40 years. It's a total game changer since BYD entered the market. Now, let's look at Europe. Europe, which is known as the owner of the world's 6th largest automotive industry, is also being hit hard by BYD. Chinese EV brands have already captured 11% of the EV market share in Europe. These are the current numbers. For example, Renault just reported a net loss for the first time in 5 years. Stellantis, the company behind Jeep, Peugeot, and Fiat, lost $26 billion. This is the biggest loss in their history. Volkswagen has also had to lay off employees. Mercedes-Benz saw its profits drop by 28%. Porsche, wow, even luxury cars that you wouldn't expect to be affected have been hit, with net profits falling by 92% in just 1 year. The car brands I've mentioned are legendary brands that have been around for a long time. They're considered the backbone of their country's economies. But BYD isn't stopping with just these global brands. BYD is also expanding its EV marketing. In countries like Mexico, Israel, and Norway, which are considered some of the toughest EV markets in the world. You could say that. Right now, the only market left that BYD hasn't been able to enter is the United States. Or actually, they did try to enter but had to pull out, because the US is the only market that has officially blocked BYD, citing clear reasons. BYD is seen as a threat to national security. The United States. The question is, where does BYD's strength come from? Why does everyone end up losing to them? Like I mentioned at the beginning, no matter how big the global brand, Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz, Toyota, none of them can compete with BYD. It's like they're playing the same game, but with different rules. All these global brands, no matter how hard they try, are fighting to make better cars, to produce at lower costs, and to sell for higher profits. And they try to produce as many as possible, as long as the cost allows them to sell. But does BYD have to care about costs? Not at all. That's a whole different set of rules. You could even call it cheating on the test. Because BYD doesn't have to worry about how much they lower the price, and they can even sell cars for less than the cost of production. Why? Because the government supports them. And the important thing is, BYD can sell cars below cost not just for a short while, but for years. That means Benz, no matter how much better or more advanced Benz makes their cars, or how much Stellantis can cut costs, or how much Toyota cares about customer experience, none of them can compete with BYD's costs. Because BYD isn't even playing by those rules. BYD isn't winning because they're more skilled, more creative, better, or faster. Not at all. BYD is winning because it's one of China's national strategic industries. Let me say that again. BYD wins because it is one of China's 6 national strategic industries. This means that no matter how big BYD gets, no matter who BYD defeats, BYD is still just a pawn. The real player is the Chinese government. Still, being such an important piece for the Chinese government is one of the main reasons BYD has skyrocketed in growth. It used to just be a battery manufacturer, not a big company at all, and yet, 5 years ago, most people couldn't even recall the name BYD, but over the past 23 years, its growth has been so explosive it's actually scary for the rest of the world. This happened because BYD received a massive amount of privileges and special rights from the Chinese government. Did they get a blank check from the Chinese government or something like that? Not quite to that extent. But how much did they actually get? Well, I looked it up for you. From 2015 to 2020, over those 5 years, believe it or not, some people estimate that BYD received a total of $4.3 billion in support from the Chinese government. Now, this support didn't come in the form of just handing over piles of cash, but rather in a variety of creative ways. Whether it was support in the form of land for building BYD's factories or zero-interest loans from the government, those loan terms are really important because, as you know, companies in the US or in countries with high inflation are struggling since their financial costs, meaning loan interest rates, are so high. But BYD was able to build its empire with low-interest loans from the government, which is just amazing. There were also tax incentives for research and development, or R&D. BYD also secured long-term contracts with the government for making buses and taxis in many cities across China. There were direct subsidies given to customers, meaning for every BYD car sold in China, it was like the government was giving a discount on the price. At its peak, some estimates said that BYD was receiving about $2,000 to $4,000 per car from the government. But even with all this, if you want to say, wow, BYD just came in and got this far just because of government support, that's not really fair to say, and I know that's not the case. If you think about it, why did the Chinese government choose BYD in the first place? It means BYD itself must have been really outstanding. Like, just how exceptional did they have to be for the government to pick them? I actually made a video about BYD before, and in that video, I talked about the founder of BYD, Mr. Wang Chuanfu. Honestly, he was just a boy from a family that wasn't wealthy at all. You could say he was also an orphan, you know? He grew up with his older brother and sister-in-law scraping by, working hard just to earn enough money to send him to school until he graduated. But he managed to graduate and became a successful engineer, eventually building the largest battery empire in China. That's BYD. And when Wang Chuanfu was building this empire, it took a long time, about 15 years. And those 15 years were full of overcoming ridicule and contempt. Even Elon Musk once laughed at BYD. In this video, I want to continue with the 3 main strategies that helped BYD beat everyone. It all comes down to Wang Chuanfu's unique decision-making. One of BYD's main strategies that helped them win over everyone is that BYD chose not to rely on anyone else. What does that mean? For example, take Tesla. Tesla used to buy batteries from Panasonic and Volkswagen. Normally, most car companies operate like this, right? They have hundreds of suppliers for chips, motors, electronics, and even glass and so on. They order from suppliers. But BYD said they wouldn't rely on anyone else. That means BYD manufactures everything themselves, whether it's semiconductors, motors, power electronics, windshields, headlights, or even the software that runs the car's dashboard. All these things that BYD makes in-house are like BYD's secret weapon because it allowed them to get through crises that others could barely survive. For example, in 2021, when there was an incident of global shortages, like I said, BYD manufactures its own semiconductors, so BYD didn't have the same problems as others. They could still deliver cars and keep selling. Or when lithium prices shot up, did BYD care? Not at all, because BYD started out as a battery manufacturer. They even produce their own lithium. And BYD doesn't just manufacture, they actually mine it themselves, with operations in Tibet and mines in South America as well. This strategy. The second factor that really propelled BYD's growth is their balanced, non-extreme strategy. When you talk about EVs, like with Tesla, right? Tesla goes all in on electric vehicles, but BYD makes hybrids, specifically plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, PHEVs. So if you're just driving around the city for short distances, you use electricity, you use the EV mode. But if you need to go long distances, you switch to gasoline. Some people might wonder, is that really good? Well, it's a compromise. Like this. Honestly, Tesla might not have thought of it because in the United States, it's not really necessary. You can just make EVs and that's enough. Since when you drive an EV there, you can go anywhere and easily find charging stations, right? But that's not the case in China. In China, if you leave the city and head out to the countryside, it's hard to find an EV charging station on that day. So BYD chose a strategy that shows they really understand Chinese people. They make cars that can run on electricity, but if you need to go far, you can just fill up with gas. It really meets the needs of Chinese people. That's why BYD is able to dominate the Chinese market. Like, we're talking about 500 million people in a way that Tesla just can't touch. That's easy money, right? And since BYD is already a Chinese company, they understand Chinese people and have designed this strategy, which gives BYD the capability to produce cars in huge quantities. What follows is the economy of scale. The more they produce, the lower the cost per unit. That's basically the main skill set of Chinese people. The third strategy is being cheaper and safer. As I mentioned, BYD started out as a battery manufacturer. In 2020, BYD launched the Blade battery, which is a lithium iron phosphate battery, LFP, instead of using nickel or cobalt like other EV batteries at the time. The advantage of lithium is that it's cheaper and less likely to catch fire. So it's both cheaper and safer, which is really important. It also has a longer lifespan, which makes the cost even lower. That means BYD can sell cars at a lower price than Tesla. 4 years later, Tesla ended up buying batteries from BYD as well. So you can see here that BYD managed to win because they built a system to beat their competitors at the structural level. But at the end of the day, a move is just a move, no matter how skilled or powerful BYD is. It's still just a pawn of the Chinese government, as long as it remains in China. If you remember, since the end of 2024 or so, Western countries have been complaining, saying, wow, Chinese products are over capacity, flooding the world. It's all too much, and the competition isn't fair. But honestly, those complaints came a bit too late, because by that time, the Chinese government had already been pumping money to support BYD and the like. They gradually started turning off the tap, slowly pulling back their financial support. And why did the government suddenly decide to stop supporting BYD at that time? Well, it wasn't all at once, but little by little. The reason isn't hard to figure out. Like I said, BYD was just a pawn. Once the pawn had done its job, the factories were built, the technology was developed, the supply chain was in place, and all the competitors had already been brought to their knees. Is it still necessary? Maybe not anymore. Now, while the Chinese government has already pulled its funding from BYD, okay, maybe some Western countries are still standing around confused, but the one who really gets the short end of the stick when the tide goes out is BYD itself. When the government support started to fade, BYD immediately found itself in trouble. And in 2025, there was a small independent company in Hong Kong called GM. They published a report about BYD's debt. According to their report, BYD officially reported having 42 billion yuan in debt, but GMT Research said that's not true. BYD actually has as much as 323 billion yuan in debt, which is 8 times the official number BYD announced. So where did this huge difference come from? This debt, which is 8 times higher than what was reported, comes from the supply chain. It's about financing, specifically the money BYD owes to its supply chain. What BYD does is delay payments to its suppliers. BYD's payment cycle to suppliers is 275 days, or about 9 months. Normally, businesses pay within 30 or 60 days, but 9 months is a long time. This means BYD is basically using its suppliers as a bank, taking goods or money up front without paying interest. And there's another issue as well. Because when you look at it, there's another thing that needs to be mentioned. BYD's so-called used car graveyards, cars that have never even been driven. As you can see in the picture, there are thousands of brand new cars just sitting there. According to the news, some of them have been parked so long they've started to rust. This is actually part of their strategy to boost their sales numbers on paper. Now, you should take this information with a grain of salt, because while the sites are available, the source is said to be an insider. But where exactly this insider is from, I don't know. So it might not be true, but I'm just sharing what I've heard. This is a method used to make BYD's sales figures look higher. Every month, a portion of the sales numbers are actually cars registered as new, but then immediately sent to the used car market. Thousands of them. There's even a nickname for these cars, which zero-kilometer cars. And of course, those cars are counted as part of the sales figures. So when BYD reports that they sold over 4,250,000 cars in a year, it does raise some questions. Like, out of that number, how many actually went to real customers? And how many ended up sitting in the so-called zero-kilometer car graveyards? And then the Chinese government came out and basically threw BYD under the bus, really threw them under the bus, by publicly announcing that this EV price war they were waging just wasn't sustainable. Everyone was like, who started it? And at that time, BYD's financial numbers really took a hit. Their net profit in 2025 dropped by 19%, and BYD's global sales in 2026 fell by 41% compared to the previous year. It got to the point where people were saying that what was happening to BYD, the EV boom in China at that time, was just like what happened with Evergrande. There was a real possibility that the EV industry could drag the Chinese economy down again, just like when the real estate sector collapsed. If that were to happen, it wouldn't just stop at the EV industry. It would affect the overall Chinese economy again. But all this information doesn't mean that any of this will definitely happen, and it doesn't mean that BYD will collapse today or tomorrow just because the government isn't supporting them anymore. To be honest, BYD is still a company that's very strong. They have a solid foundation and have been through a lot of battles. I really recommend you check out the BYD video I made before. It's really worth watching. But what I see from this situation is something that keeps happening over and over again with these so-called miracles that the government grants to listed companies in China. No matter how big they get, no matter how successful or explosive their growth is, they're still fragile. A lot. I once made a 10-cent trilogy video, and it was the same story. Go check out Jack Ma. It's pretty much the same. So if anyone says, oh, just look at Chinese stocks, pick the ones the government supports and you'll make a killing, just make sure you get in and out at the right time, that's what it means. But one thing, whether BYD can keep going or not, whether it survives or not, if you're an investor and you want to know, it's this. Okay, today the government isn't putting money into BYD. You want to know who will be the next BYD, the next star that the government wants to back, the one the government wants to pour money into? Honestly, this kind of thing isn't a secret. It's not that hard to find out. The Chinese government even announces it publicly. Most recently, it's in China's 15th Five-Year Development Plan, the China 15 Five-Year Plan. It spells out everything, which themes, which industries, and which sectors the government will support. China wants to use these to dominate the world. Try reading it for yourself sometime, and you'll see. The way you feel when you read headlines about China's economy will never be the same. Let me read it for you and sum it up like this. I think that